How predictive brain models may anticipate behavior. Most people imagine the brain as a system that reacts to the world. Something happens, the brain receives information, and then a response follows. Modern neuroscience suggests the process may be more complicated, and then comparing those predictions to reality. This means perception itself may not be purely reactive. Instead, the brain may spend much of its time anticipating future events before they occur. Understanding this idea has become one of the most important areas of research in cognitive neuroscience. Predictive brain models are theories suggesting that the brain continuously builds internal models of the environment. These models help estimate what is likely to happen next based on previous experience, current context, and incoming sensory information. Rather than waiting passively for data, the brain actively generates expectations. When reality matches those expectations, processing becomes more efficient. When reality differs from expectations, the brain updates its model. This constant cycle of prediction and correction may explain many aspects of perception, learning, and behavior. From an evolutionary perspective, prediction offers enormous advantages. An organism that can anticipate danger, identify opportunities, or prepare for future events often has a better chance of survival. If the brain had to process every situation completely from scratch, decision-making would be slower and less efficient. Predictive processing allows the brain to use past experience to guide future actions. How much of what people call decision-making is actually preparation happening before conscious awareness fully catches up? The brain creates predictions by combining previous experiences with current information. Every interaction leaves traces within neural networks. Over time, patterns begin to emerge. If a particular situation repeatedly leads to a similar outcome, the brain learns that relationship. Eventually, it starts anticipating the outcome before it happens. For example, if someone hears the beginning of a familiar song, they often know what note comes next before it is played. The brain is using stored patterns to generate expectations automatically. Sometimes I can predict the next word in a sentence before reaching it. Occasionally, the prediction is correct, and reading feels effortless. Other times, the author writes something unexpected, and I pause for a moment because my brain predicted the wrong outcome. That small experience may seem trivial, but it reflects a larger process happening continuously. The brain is constantly trying to stay one ahead of incoming information. One of the most important concepts in predictive neuroscience is the prediction error. A prediction error occurs when reality differs from what the brain expected. These errors provide valuable information because they signal that the brain's internal model needs adjustment. Learning often occurs through prediction errors. If expectations are consistently wrong, the brain gradually updates its understanding of the world. Without prediction errors, adaptation would be much more difficult, because the brain would have fewer opportunities to refine its models. Human behavior may feel highly personal and spontaneous, but many actions follow patterns. People tend to develop routines, preferences, habits, and responses based on previous experiences. Because behavior often follows recognizable patterns, predictive models can sometimes anticipate future actions surprisingly well. This does not mean behavior is completely predetermined. It means that past behavior often provides clues about future behavior, especially in familiar situations where environmental conditions remain relatively stable. Interestingly, some artificial intelligence systems rely on concepts that resemble predictive processing. Machine learning models identify patterns in data and use those patterns to generate predictions. While artificial systems operate differently from biological brains, the underlying principle is similar. Both systems attempt to reduce uncertainty by using previous information to estimate future outcomes. This comparison helps explain why predictive neuroscience has attracted attention from both neuroscientists and computer scientists. Decision-making may depend heavily on prediction. Before choosing an action, the brain often simulates possible outcomes. It estimates rewards, risks, consequences, and probabilities. These internal simulations help guide behavior toward options that appear most beneficial. This is interesting because decisions may not emerge from a single moment of conscious reasoning. Instead, they may result from ongoing predictive processes that evaluate possibilities before a person becomes fully aware of the final choice. Predictions are not based only on facts and logic. Emotions also shape expectations. Someone who feels anxious may predict negative outcomes more often than someone who feels confident. Likewise, positive experiences may increase expectations of success in similar situations. This means predictive models are influenced not only by objective information, but also by emotional history. The brain is constantly integrating both types of information when generating expectations about the future. Researchers are increasingly exploring whether a neural activity can reveal behavioral intentions before actions occur. Certain patterns of brain activity sometimes appear moments before a person makes a decision or performs a movement. These findings have led scientists to investigate how predictive models might identify upcoming behavior based on neural signals. While current technology remains limited, the possibility raises fascinating questions about how much future behavior can be anticipated from present brain activity. Despite advances in neuroscience, predicting human behavior remains extremely difficult. Human environments are complex, and individuals constantly encounter new information. Small changes in context can alter decisions significantly. A person may follow a predictable routine for months and then suddenly change behavior because of a new experience, emotion, or goal. This is why behavioral prediction works best in situations where patterns remain relatively stable. Predicting every human decision with perfect accuracy remains far beyond current scientific capabilities. As predictive technologies improve, ethical concerns become increasingly important. If future systems become better at anticipating behavior, questions about privacy, consent, and autonomy will become more significant. Brain data is deeply personal. The possibility of predicting preferences, intentions, or decisions raises concerns about how such information should be collected and used. These discussions are becoming more relevant as neuroscience and artificial intelligence continue advancing together. Future predictive models may help identify neurological disorders earlier, improve personalized education, enhance mental health treatments, and support brain-computer interfaces. Rather than predicting every action perfectly, these systems may focus on estimating probabilities and identifying patterns that help improve outcomes. The future will likely involve collaboration between neuroscience, psychology, computer science, and ethics. As researchers work to understand how predictive processes shape human behavior, predictive brain models suggest that the brain is constantly generating expectations about the future, rather than simply reacting to the present. By building internal models, detecting prediction errors, and updating expectations continuously, the brain becomes more efficient at navigating the world. These same predictive processes may help explain learning, decision-making, perception, and behavior. While scientists are still uncovering the limits of behavioral prediction, the growing understanding of predictive brain models is changing how we think about the relationship between the brain, experience, and future actions. Thanks for watching.